Hola amigos de la W Radio, soy Stephanie Carrillo y en este momento nos encontramos en Park City, Utah, en la celebración del Sundance Film Festival, con la competencia de varias películas independientes y la premier de las películas de las grandes industrias y estudios. Hablamos con sus protagonistas, celebridades del cine, y eso nos contaron. Okay. Anne Hathaway, thank you for joining us on W Radio Colombia. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Good. In this movie, you play a journalist. Do you find that the profession is challenging?
Do I find the profession of journalism challenging? Well, I'm not a journalist, so playing her was incredible, and it just kind of hit home for me how important it is to have a free press.
Thank you. Do you always choose fascinating roles? What motivated you this political thriller?
Well, roles are always fascinating to me when I choose them. By the time they wind up on the screen, I'll leave it up for the audiences to decide. And what made me decide, political stories are human stories. And I think that sometimes, particularly in a moment like this where we're really exercising our ability to shout at each other, but I'm not so sure about our ability to take each other in and listen to each other, it's important to remind ourselves that we're all just human beings trying to live. Thank you.
Thank you. Continuamos en la primera de la película Downhill y en este momento se está acercando su protagonista, la comediante estadounidense Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Vamos a hablar con ella.
Thank you.
Julia, thank you for joining us on W Radio Colombia. Congratulations.
Hi. Thank you.
Julia, tell me about your character in this movie, Downhill.
I play Billy Stanton, who's the wife and mother in this family, who goes on a ski vacation with her husband and children to the Austrian Alps. And they're having a grand time until they encounter an avalanche, and she reacts differently than her husband does, and that's a source of great discord. And the rest of the film is them trying to digest that moment.
Julia, we know that climate change is a topic that you are passionate about.
Yes.
Do you think Sundance Festival is a platform to raise awareness?
I do, as a matter of fact. I was very proud to be on a panel with the NRDC and Gina McCarthy on a couple nights ago, in which we talked about the climate crisis and talking about the future and what we can do as individuals to combat what is clearly a crisis and is here now.
Thank you for joining us on W Radio Colombia.
Oh, great. Colombia.
Has
Viva Colombia.
Has you been before in Colombia?
I never have. No. It's next on my list, though.
Okay. So tell me about your character in this movie, Downhill.
Yes, I play Pete, the husband, and I'm actually a little bit of the villain in the movie. I kind of abandoned my family in a moment of crisis and need, only to kind of reconcile my ways and in the end, after a lot of contention, I kind of finally admit that I was wrong, and it's really the story of how well do a husband and wife who've been together know each other, especially in the face of kind of a natural disaster, and how would you react in that type of situation, and a lot of different themes that are kind of fun to portray.
So, Will, about your character in this history, what do you think about the masculinity has changed nowadays?
Well, I think it's changing for the better. It's I think masculine. I think it's okay to be. I'm a husband and a father, and I think. To be more involved in your family's life is something that's accepted for men to do. I think it's applauded. I think it's actually more fun than working.
Thank you. We have to go.
About Academy Awards, if they offer you to be a host, will you do it?
Yes, for $10 billion.
For you.
Thank you for joining us on W Radio Colombia.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Zach, tell me about your character in this movie, Downhill.
Well, the movie's about this couple that's going through a very, very difficult time because the husband runs away from his family during an avalanche. And I play a friend of the husband's, a work friend, who he invites to sort of help diffuse some of the tension that has been created by this incident. But instead of diffusing it, we actually just get sort of sucked into the whirlpool of their marital crisis. And so, yeah, that's the story. Yeah.
So what's the difference between this character and the Silicon Valley character?
Oh, I mean, they're pretty different. Like, this guy's like, I mean, I wouldn't even know where to begin. There's very few similarities. Yeah. They look the same.
So, how was working with Will Ferrell? Funny?
Yeah, wonderful. He was always been one of my comedic heroes, and I've always also been such a fan of his straight acting too, like Stranger Than Fiction, Everything Must Go. I always thought, anytime I saw him do something that, as much as I adore all of his like big, iconic comedies, when I've seen him do dramatic stuff, he has such honesty and simplicity and vulnerability, and it was so exciting to get to see that up close.
Zach, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Congratulations. Movie The Last Shift. In this role of The Last Shift, what do you think that can be improved for the working class people?
Well, the pay would be good. We start there. Yeah, I mean, there's a sense of dignity that, everybody deserves. And, but this just kind of looks at somebody, me, this character, who has been doing this fast food job and he loves it. He takes pride in it, and he's not making much money, but...
The service jobs are difficult. So what do you learn about handling emotions in a service profession?
I think it takes a certain type of person to be in service profession. Me, no. I would not be good. I've done it, and I'm not good at it. But, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Because you catch people at all different times in their lives, in their day, happy, angry, hungry, so it's tough.
So tell me about your role in this movie.
I play a man who's worked at a fast food restaurant for 38 years and is retiring, and he's training a younger man, played by Shane McGee, and it's the story of these two guys and what happens.
Thank you, Richard. Congratulations.